Okay, everybody. Hey, gonna be drawing Brad Linder's sketch card of the day, as it were. No, seriously, I'm gonna be knocking out Mojo today for the sketch. So thanks for coming on and hanging out with me if you're watching, and I'm gonna start getting this thing knocked out. Just my light a little bit here. If you don't know who Mojo is from the X-Men series. He is an intergalactic television producer, and he manipulated the X-Men into coming into what they thought was to help him save an alien race that was in trouble, and it turned out that it was a trap to get him um, their presence for a television show. And it's kind of like the Hunger Games or Survivor or something like that, with all the safety nets pulled out. Um, so that's the easiest way to explain it. He gave us Long Shot, if you know that character. Um, Long Shot was a cloned gladiator from Mojo's world, and he escaped and came to Earth. And if you guys know Shatterstar from X-Force fame, he is also from Mojo World. But he's also from a different time zone from it. He's actually from a future version that comes from MOJO 2. And they didn't reveal that until, I think, 2005 or 6 when they came out with that storyline. And they said it wasn't the original Mojo that got him. It was he was Longshot's predecessor, or actually, um, not his predecessor, but the guy that came after him. So Longshot was his predecessor. That's what I was getting to. But it'll get there eventually. But yeah, this guy was nuts, man. As a character, this would probably be the closest to Marvel's rendition of the Joker, if you had to put a character type on him, because he is out of his gourd. No, Matt, I was saying the safety nets were for Survivor. I said it's like Hunger Games or Survivor without the safety nets. Just to clarify. So, but yeah, he is uh, some kind of monster. I tell you, it's one of my favorite villains from the X-Men because he's so unpredictable. It is insane how unpredictable his character is. He is all over the place, and he's put them against everything that you can think of. He's created aliens and had them run at people. Um, whatever floats the boat of his of his form of entertainment, that's what he goes for. A lot of people only remember him from the cartoon in the 90s, but what they don't realize is he's been around for a long, long time. And all this wiring and junk is to keep his eyes open and keep him plugged in. He has direct access to every channel in the universe. He is an entertainment addict, and it is a drug for him. I really draw this character about 2 or 3 times a year, so it's not very often. But this one is MOJO 1, and he is my favorite version because he is the original, and he's the nastiest of the 5 that they have now. He calmed down and matured a little bit and got more aristocratic and businesslike at one point, and now I believe Marvel's coming back with this one for the X-Men comics if they haven't already. But I'm not an avid reader anymore, so I don't know exactly offhand. I catch stuff as I can. For one thing, I'm too busy, and I hate that, but like I said before, I don't really resonate with the new books, but I try. I do try. My allergies are driving me crazy today. He's done a lot of the personal enhancements himself. Um, these wires and connectors and things like that, these diodes and stuff, they all go in here, and like this one right here runs down through his brow here and comes out right here by his nose and hooks into his eyes right there. Go ahead and draw that in. Put in that stretched eyelid. So that he can keep his eyes open, he straps them open with these little hooks. So I'm going to get back up here and knock these out. Yeah, this character has issues, big time. Drawing in part of his hand here. Which it's not anatomically human at all, so they're really elongated fingers. and they get a little weird. There's his hands. These claws are coming from the bottom of this crab-like walker that he has, because he has no legs. Um, so he has a cyborg platform that he sits on, and these little claws come out of the front of it. In later years, they were modified to look like Dr. Octopus's arms from the Spider-Man film, Spider-Man 2. And they got that segmented look, and they look exactly like it from the movie. And they did that for the comic book for a while. I'm not really onto that, so what I did was went back to the original, kept it pretty slick, kind of awkward and quirky, and that's exactly what this guy is, because he's very gangly and creepy, and I want to keep him that way. Because not to go too far into it, when I was a kid, he creeped me out. Not many villains did that in comics, but he did. He was creepy. And he has these discs on the side of his head that these wires go into, and that's the stuff that holds his mouth open and holds his eyes open. They connect right there, some kind of receiver disc that he's got on his head. He always has those. I want to put these in first before I go into the eyes. You want to make sure and draw these very tiny, because they are supposed to be connectors, not necessarily restraints. That's why they're made so thin. And actually they're a nuisance to draw, but it is what it is. I want you guys to have some detail in this one, and you to be able to see that. So you're welcome. Now when I ink this later this afternoon, this will come out really, really slick, because I'll use a finer pen. And then when I erase these, the lines will disappear. Hopefully the camera's picking enough of that up for you. To answer your question, Matt, I think probably MOJO, because he's pretty hardcore, man. I mean, like I said, he has like no limitations for these characters. He has no regard nor restraint for the characters, and he fights them to the death every time. That was the reason that he cloned. Eventually, he started cloning his gladiators so he wouldn't lose the original one. And then if a character came along, that a competitor came along that would beat one of his gladiators, he would bring out the original with the most fighting experience and put it against them. So that was the reason for that. This guy has some seriously creepy teeth. Hey Heather, glad you made it. Yeah, this guy's all hardwired into this stuff, and um, like I said, these connectors, if I can speak today, these connectors on his head go directly to his brain and then come out to these receivers um, that are connected into his face. It's really, really strange the way he's hooked up, but that is the way he goes. And I'm gonna put in, before I forget, this big gnarly belly button down here. He's not human, but it is what it is. So first off, I'm going to draw in these teeth and set the gum line. And then I'm going to go and do some more detail on that quote-unquote hairline up there. So we can get that knocked out. Okay. Okay. Got it. Now this tubing, I'm going to put it this way. This tubing goes of course, out of this stuff up on his head. And whenever you're drawing him, be sure to add that stuff very carefully, because so much of it is metal, some of it is harder tubing, which I need to put the ribbing on, and then it has finer wires coming out of it that actually connect in. So that's what his hair is. That's these big tubes that are connected down his back, from the back of his head all the way around, and it makes a faux hair type of look to him. I'm going to step that out a little bit because the card's fighting me there and I don't want to dig into it. Make sure and connect everything up. See, again, that's that metal syringe that plugs into him. And we'll see that hose go back, and then this electrical wire come off of it. and go back over here like that. So now that we've got that in place, I'm going to put in a little more of his shoulder here. Pop him off a little bit. Kind of weighting him up a little bit. So that we can flesh him out. Okay. Now this little piece right back here is going to be part of the leg that holds him up, because this this apparatus that he sits on, it's like I said, it's like a big plate that he sits in, and it has these crab legs come out of it, and these arms come off of it. These robotic crab legs come out of it so that he can walk. Put that in the background over there. I need to spin it around again. Do this side. We'll detail some of this out. And for some reason, most of them have these little slits like this across them. I don't know why that is. They just designed them that way. And some artists did it, some artists didn't. You know, I do, because I just like the traditional look of him. So that's what I'm going to go with. Deciding if I want to do the eyes or the tubing first. Go ahead and knock this tubing out. So we have that. Yeah, this character was almost the one to kill Wolverine. Originally, back in the early 90s, he actually got him down pretty good with a bunch of characters that he created, which are aliens, called the Wolves. Some people call them the werewolves. It depends on who you talk to. They were these metallic, adamantium, shape-shifting dogs, basically. And they were huge. And they would go, whenever MOJO released them, they would go hunt whoever was out there down and kill them. And they ripped Wolverine up pretty good in the storyline that he was in when he got trapped on MOJO World by his lonely and only out there. It was pretty bad, because the X-Men had escaped. And I believe it was Longshot that came back to help them get him out, which was part of that arc to get Longshot back home to Earth. And since then, that character's been written to go back and I believe lead the rebellion numerous times against MOJO. Now we're going to have to be delicate here, because this is going to be the eyeball. And because it's exposed, we want to make it fairly accurate and spherical. Put in some muscles, holding it in there a little bit. You can't really see it with that one, but this one has a little more room, so I'll put a little bit in there. I'm gonna dress up these fingernails a little bit to flesh him out just a little more here and there. But we've about got it. That is MOJO. So I'm gonna leave him there. I lie. I'm not either. I'm gonna cross out some more of this tubing because this is the heavier stuff. Just because I don't want to leave that barren. But I don't want to leave you guys hanging with that. But anyway, other than this right here, this is about got him. So, and oh yeah, I was going to tell you guys, tomorrow I've got Bishop coming up, and it is going to be a very cool one. Love that character. It's going to be another high impact card. The further I get down on these things, I've noticed I'm putting them in a little bit smaller now to get more detail into them. And I need to know what you guys like, man, because if I don't know, you know, if you're not liking it and I don't know which ones you enjoy the most, I'm not going to be able to tell which direction to go with the characters that I select. I have an open list right now, and I keep adding to them daily and thinking about it more and more based on, I have to base it on the views you guys give me because not many people are liking. So do me a favor, if you're watching these things and you dig them and you want me to keep going, be sure and like it, because otherwise I can't tell. And I have to assume by the views that's what's going on. Okay, got that one right here. Pop that in. Got that hose going up there. I'm not gonna mark too much on the little ones because I don't want to mess them up. But there we go. We have it. That's it. That is going to be MOJO. So I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me again. And like I said, tomorrow we have Bishop on the table, and that's where we're at. Talk to you tomorrow.